Sentire Media.
Well, here we go for our what's turned into our biannual podcast from Italy. Thank you for downloading. You are the faithful, because anyone who is listening to this twice a year, it seems like we've did it and we've done this in 2021. Thank you for listening to
Welcome
it.
back.
Welcome back.
March 11th was the last.
March 11th. So we're a solid 6 months, over 6 months.
Yikes. The longest inconsistency yet.
It's true. I'd say that we're going to change that, but let's not kid each other.
Who knows? Who knows?
So we should probably reset this whole thing. My name's Jason.
Ciao, I'm Ashley.
And together we run, own, operate, and live at a little piece of paradise we call Cacamone in Piobico and Agriturismo, tongue-tied this morning, La Tavola Marche, in the foothills of the Apennines, 7:20 in the morning. I've been up for, as you can hear, the energy in my voice. I've been up for quite a while because I'm a morning guy, and we switched on the microphones because it's cloudy and cold and wet.
And still dark.
It is still dark in the morning. Summer has passed by. We're definitely into the autumn season. Let's reset and take it all the way back.
So, we won't go all the way back to Easter and all of that, but let's jump into summer and what we've been up to. We'll try to give you a little highlight reel.
Well, my summer was dominated by the Glory Garden.
We knew that we didn't get the word until about June that we would be able to reopen. So it was kind of a slow and last-minute summer. So we kind of knew to plan ahead that we wouldn't have as many guests and that was going to be okay, but how did we want to spend our time? And Jason decided he knew exactly where he wanted to go.
Last year, the lockdown year was supposed to be my Glory Garden, but I messed up my shoulder and was out for the season, so it kind of fizzled. But this year I had the time. I was 100%, and I planted. Why do I call it the Glory Garden? Because it's if I could dedicate all the time necessary to make everything perfect, what could I really do in a garden? And it turned out to be a lot. I could do a lot.
Well, and it went way overboard.
Oh, I went crazy. So it's paradoxical because I had the time, because we didn't have a ton of guests, I had the time to plant and take care and do all the thing.
The maintenance.
The maintenance. For instance, when we'd have a normal year, you can't get to everything in the garden. You have to just kind of let things go. And this year, it was all the little things like the extra weeding and the extra pruning and the extra caring of the pathways. And
it was tight.
It was tight. It was all tight. Or the getting to do like preventative treatments, so you could do I don't get an infestation. I still did anyway, but
tying everything up too.
Everything looked beautiful because I could spend 6-7 hours a day, 3 and a half in the morning, and 4 in the evenings, doing nothing but the garden. It was
and loving it.
But since we didn't have a lot of guests, I could do that. However, since we didn't have a lot of guests, we have so much. We can't give it all away. Like there's got to be 200 kilos of tomatoes on the vine in the garden, just rotting.
30th of September.
We're done. I'm done.
Oh my gosh! And here's part of the problem too for this Glory Garden. He wanted it very beautiful and symmetrical. So maybe we only needed 20 pepper plants, but 75 went in.
Well, because I had to fill the double rows. I wanted everything to look like to the eye, to the full. So yeah, maybe I needed 3/4 of a row of peppers. But that doesn't look good if you only have 3/4 of a row. I need the double row. We have double rows in the garden.
So for the Glory Garden,
you need two. You need 2 rows full of them. So we got peppers.
Oh my
gosh. I planted barley. I need a new freezer because we've planted.
No, a third freezer.
Yeah, a third freezer. There's so many jars. I have so many jars of tomatoes. We pickled and we froze stuff, and we had a whole giant block of corn because
you wanted to do companion planting too.
We did companion planting. The 3 sisters. We did the corn, the pumpkins, and the beans. And I didn't want 2-3 rows of corn. I wanted I want to look down there and see a block of corn, and I planted a block of corn. We did a giant block of sunflowers at the top,
We had over 1,500 onions, all started from seed.
Yeah, the onions we've got onions everywhere. I've given away crates upon crates of onions. Anyone who passes and stops and talks to me on the road gets crates of onions. And they're just coming. I don't have enough room for all this stuff. So, woo, it was a garden in all its glory. I got it out of my system. Okay, it's done, and I'll never do something that big again. Done.
Did the multicultivatore help?
Yeah, it did help, but I still need a tractor.
Of course. So typically at the beginning, once we start revving up into spring and summer, we're light on the podcasts anyway. So we can't use this as our full excuse of why we haven't recorded. But then early summer, we came in after having coffee, and the computer was dead.
Oh, so I love this computer I have, and you think, no, I'm not a technology guy. This is a 2009, so my computer's 12 years old. I love it. It just does everything I need. I mean, I watch YouTube videos and look up how to do stuff, and that's about it. So for me, it didn't matter. However, all of the podcasting stuff was on there. This is such a BS excuse.
No,
what are we doing?
Why I think it's hilarious is instead of doing something where we just buy a new computer and we're done with it.
I looked around. It's too much. I don't want to learn anything new. I refuse to buy a new Apple product. So I just went out and bought the same computer.
2009.
Yeah, I spent $300. I bought the same 2009 iMac. It's awesome.
It's
sitting right here.
Hilarious.
Works great. Well, I tried to fix the other one, but it was, I don't know, it's not.
Well, Jason has bigger priorities. He wants a cow.
I want a cow now.
We're back to livestock.
We're back to thinking about getting animals, and that's my plan for this autumn. As soon as I'm done cutting all the wood that we have to cut, I want to build a little stall, and I don't know. A cow's a big jump.
I think we're going to start with pigs.
I think we're going to get a couple pigs because that's a lot easier to handle, and we'll just get not breeding pigs. What are they called?
Eating pigs.
Eating pigs. So we get them when they're babies. You raise them up, and then you slaughter them. So it's not, if it doesn't work out or doesn't really fit in our lifestyle or we don't like the smell or anything, it's over in a year. So
I know we've talked about it before, but I think we really are close to doing it this time.
Yeah. I'm going to start doing it as soon as I'm done with the wood. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. We'll see how far we get. And dogs. I want a dog.
So it was a dry and hot summer throughout central Italy.
Most of Europe was pretty dry. We had very, very little rain. Thank God for
silver linings.
Yeah, if we had a full boat of guests this year, we would definitely be out of water. That we wouldn't be able to support it.
Oh well, that was the talk of town. They were having water shut off for days. Other agriturismos were having water delivered daily. Can you imagine?
No. So when you go, what do you mean? So they either dump it into your well, or most places like this has a cistern that holds the water. So they would fill your cistern up, and
they bring a huge truck and oh my gosh!
I don't want to know what that costs.
No. But it's still been very dry.
Very dry still, but the weather's changing. We'll see what happens. Severe weather Europe predicts a normal to a little bit wetter Western Europe this year.
We'll see. Gaji's calling for snow in November.
Gaji's calling. Okay. It was 28 degrees yesterday.
I know.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of a dry, hot summer and kind of quiet, not a lot of the same busyness with the guests. So it's kind of like we're down this long, quiet road and there's not much going on. And one summer night, that all changed. It is hilarious. Like, it never gets boring out here. I don't know. Something always happens.
So I'm in the garden, and I see these two groups of two cars pull up with a bunch of kids, like, I don't know, between 16 and 20-ish. And they're just hanging out right by our driveway, which is odd because, I don't know, it's just odd.
We are in the middle of nowhere.
Nowhere. But I don't say anything. Just go about my watering, my pruning, and my tying. And then a big camper comes by, and then a box truck, like a big van comes by, and they all go, woo, and get in the car and drive away. And I think, okay, they were just waiting for their friends. This is where they're going to meet them, and they're taking off.
Totally. And sometimes, like, once or twice throughout the summer along our road or whatnot, you'll hear you'll see a couple cars pulled over, and you've got a handful of 20-something-year-olds. I mean, you got to remember, a lot of Italians live at home until they're in their like mid-30s, so they'll come down to the country road for a little hang out
and drink,
whatever, drink, listen to music, whatever. So it wasn't like anything too crazy.
Now, the way our road is and the way we're situated, once they get about 150 meters, you can't really see because they go over this little crest in the hill, in the road, and then it kind of dips down and you can't
towards
really
the river, yeah.
Towards the river. Even though it's still the same field in our property, you can't really see them. So I didn't think anything of it. And then around dusk, so like 9:45, 10, you start hearing and I'm like, oh, okay, it's those kids there.
Yeah, we figured there's an abandoned farmhouse up the road from us, and we just thought, oh, I bet they pulled up in there, and they're just having a party up at that house, and not really thinking anything of it, just going, oh my God, this music sucks.
Yeah, it was more like, oh, this is just terrible music than anything else.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? A bunch of kids. Well, as it turns out, more and more people started arriving, and we didn't realize it, but there was 200 people there. At least. I mean, we heard the music, but I didn't want to be Debbie Downer and call the cops.
And we had
on
no idea exactly where they were. We just heard some cars passing, and then it wasn't until the morning.
The morning, when the music was still pumping.
And I mean, like, first thing in the morning.
I'm up at, it's the high summer. I'm up at, 5 o'clock straight up in the morning.
Still,
boom, boom. I go walk over there, and there are kids
as soon as you hang a right out of our driveway.
And you walk over the crest.
Not even now then. Now the cars are all parked.
Yeah, now you see the cars. And they're in our field, like the bottom of the field. And I walk over, and there's girls peeing in bushes. There's people passed out everywhere.
There's tents all over the place.
Tents set up. Apparently, we had
the bar and
yes.
like DJ station. They had a whole bar tent, a DJ station.
Hundreds of people, and it's like, oh God, what the hell is this?
People passed out in their cars
everywhere. And apparently, this is something that happens throughout Italy and I guess throughout Europe. Is they send out. Kids send out these like announcements through who knows and rave party. So
they were charging people.
They were charging people to get into the middle of a field. So of course, at little past 6, here come the farmers start coming down the road in their cars, and mouths agape, and of course the cops were called then. And funny enough, since it was a Saturday night into a Sunday, the police were probably called at 6:30 in the morning, something like that. No one showed up till 10:30.
Oh, no. And the crazy thing is Gaji, all the way down the valley, heading towards into town, said he lives up on a hill, swears he could hear it all evening, too. Just the thun, thun, thun.
Oh, I would imagine. I heard it pretty good.
Oh, my gosh.
So I learned my lesson that don't try to be the cool neighbor.
Oh, wait, but then they told the police that we said it was okay.
That we said it was okay, that they posted up in the field and had a rave party. It's like, what are you talking about?
And if I did, I want my cut. Where's my money?
Where's my monies? Funny enough, about a month later, at the middle of August, a month later in the middle of August, Italian national news, huge rave party with 10,000 people in the by Viterbo,
near Lago Bolsena.
Near Lago Bolsena. So I've learned my lesson now.
Thousands, and it lasted for days.
And the cops are like, "What can we do? We can't do anything." It's like, yeah, you can.
Break that up.
You break it up.
Oh my gosh! So that was pretty wild.
that was pretty much the most exciting thing that happened all summer.
That was the talk of town. Oh, there was the one other exciting thing of water cooler talk of the robbery.
What robbery?
In Piobico for the Scratchers.
Oh, Jesus. So these two women moved into a house at the beginning of the road, and they were from this coast. So they're not really country people. So they never really fit in. Meaning like they
would sound alarms when the hunters would come by.
And it's like, well, people have been hunting out here for hundreds of years. You've moved here. So they never really fit in. They were never really kind of part of the community. Anyway, turns out that not only were they not part of the community, but they thought it would be a good idea to distract one of the shopkeepers at the local. It's a cafe bar / grocery store.
It is straight out of a film where it is a tiny town. There's like dust on the shelves.
They're connected.
They live upstairs. Yeah. If you need groceries, you can ask them to open up next door, and they'll kind of get you the grocery.
It's the place that has the fire going in the middle of June because the oldies like to sit around because I'm cold. It's that kind of place. Like.
And these ladies are in their 60s, 70s.
No, not 70s.
Okay,
they're in
60s.
their early 60s.
Okay.
So they thought it would be a good idea to distract the shopkeeper and then just take money out of the register.
Yeah. And got him on the camera that was in there.
It's
got him on the camera. Question of who it was. It's lived down the road.
That whole thing went down, and it was the talk of the town. And I don't understand why you would do that in your own town,
where you live. It is crazy. And supposedly they were addicted to scratchers.
That was the talk of the town.
They did it for the scratchers.
They did it for the scratchers. They wasted all their money on scratcher tickets.
Oh my gosh! So between the crazy crime in Piobico and the rave down our road, it was a pretty wild summer.
And those ladies moved out. I don't know what happened. I don't know how it ended criminally or whatever.
I don't think much of anything.
But they're no longer live at the house down the road.
No.
They're off to move. They've moved on. They've moved their grift on, their scratcher grift.
Exactly. So what else happened over the summer? We did a few little road trips.
We did. We went about 2.5 hours north, and then we went about an hour and a half south. Just little one night kind of getaways.
We went up to Ravenna to see the mosaics. We'd had so many people recommend it. We had never had a chance. I don't know. We had never gotten to it. It was on the list, and we thought, you know what? Let's head up sometime in June. We went and checked out the mosaics for the day. But the best part was we stayed near Cervia on the coast. And that was cool because Cervia is where
the Pope's salt.
Yes. You want to tell him?
So in the Vatican still to this day owns salt mines all over because back in the day salt was like gold. Salt was a form of currency. And they have never let go. So what do they know that we don't? But we thought it would be an interesting place to go to check out how they do it. And you can take a little tour. However, it was the height of summer. It was so hot. And their tour started at 5:30 in the afternoon.
Just of the day in the salt flats.
Just walking around salt conducts, transfers heat really well. I thought it sounded like the most miserable thing I've ever heard in my entire life. So we stopped at the gift shop and bought a bag of salt.
But it's the salt you use.
But it's the salt that we use, and it's good. It's good salt. It's sweet salt, they call it. So salts are really interesting how they have so much complexity, and I love to buy salt wherever we go because it's something that you can travel with. Like there's no liquid involved. It's easy to throw around, and it lasts forever. You get a kilo of salt from somewhere and use it as like a finishing salt or something different, and you'll have it for a long time. I have a lot of little jars of salts. So if you're in the Ravenna area, it's really 5 minutes from Ravenna because it was halfway in between. Ravenna's a little bit inland, so Cervia was halfway between the coast where we stayed. And what was the name of that?
I forget. Milano, Misano.
Misano, Milano, Adriatico.
Maritime something.
God,
I can't remember.
No information.
Well, back to classic podcasts.
Jesus Christ.
We also went down south, like Jason said, to Civita Nova Marche, which we had always thought of as like, ooh, that's supposed to be really nice down there. Well, it wasn't that great. It was fine.
Are you one of the idiots who gives
the Grand Canyon
3 stars?
2 stars.
No, it was fine.
It was fine.
It was just not. I don't know. Like
San Benedetto del Tronto we went to last year, and that was for doing the beach thing and having the promenade, and it was just much nicer.
And it was nicer up north as well.
True. Yeah. But the part that was kind of cool in Civita Nova Marche was 2 things. One, with our little day that we spent at the beach, you could hear them practicing getting ready for a big concert. at the outdoor arena, and so you're hearing them tune up and practice music.
They did
and
sound check. They did the
sound
whole
check.
concert.
It was really cool. So it was a David Bowie tribute. And it was like, this is awesome. And we'll have to ride the bikes back by here this evening. And sure enough, this is what is so hilariously Italian. This David Bowie tribute, we ride back by. We know what the lineup is. We're like, this is great. Show up, and it's so Italian that in between the songs, they speak for like 45 minutes on the theory and the concepts behind the emotions. It was like we sat there for 2 minutes and
we heard the 6 songs that they were going to sing, except they took those 6 songs and did it in a 2.5 hour
oh my god
discussion / performance.
Yes, that sounded so boring. We kept the bikes moving.
Well, it's an outdoor concert. They set up 1,000 seats like in this little outdoor amphitheater. You can hear it for kilometers around there. So you really didn't, even though it was sold out, you didn't really need tickets.
No, it was cool though.
Most people were hanging out outside.
Oh
anyway.
yeah, they love hearing all that stuff, but it was just kind of funny. But we rode our bikes to this kind of fancy schmancy bar to get. We never do this. Get kind of dressed up, have fancy drinks, and get a bunch of little kind of not tapas but antipasti plates, and just kind of enjoy sitting at a. This wasn't an enoteca.
It was an enoteca ristorante kind of thing. It was in a cave. You walked downstairs into this like grotto cantina,
bar,
and it was a little over the top. It was like the red velvet everywhere, and it could have been much. It could have been much simpler and a little bit more sophisticated if it wasn't like
trying so hard. It was hilarious. So I thought, I'll get a foofy drink. I never do that. Jason went with a gin and tonic, smart, straightforward, done. You can't really mess that up. And I was like, I'll do one of your signature drinks. Oh my God. 20 minutes later, after so many like fluffs, like spritzes of smells and shakers and whispers into the glass and aromatic bits and zests of different citrus.
There must have been 20 ingredients.
Oh my gosh. Then there was a little note and all of this attached and more bits and things added. I was in a martini glass and some like fluorescent green look. It was like, what the hell did I order? It ended up to be it tasted exactly like the juice we serve at breakfast, but like spiked. It was such a disappointment. I was like, what the hell did I just order?
So a lot of you got to remember, Italy is kind of behind in everything, and they're so just kind of getting into the like, the
bartending
and the mixed drinks and the
mixology.
Mixology, there you go. That's the name. These guys had the suspenders. They had the
they looked the part. They told a story of the whole thing.
They were missing the crazy facial hair.
True.
No one had the beard with the wax and shit.
No, but we had the little man buns.
They did have man buns. Okay, well, 0.5 point for a man bun.
Okay.
But the beard with the wax and the crazy mustache would have been better. So we're not used to this. So seeing it for live and in person for really the first time, it's ridiculous.
It was a show. It was like, oh my God.
Absolutely ridiculousness.
Can we just get a glass of wine next time and just you pour it?
$20 for something that tastes like freaking ace.
Oh my gosh, it was such a bummer. It was hilarious. I was like, and
that's why
you don't order the fancy drinks. Just go normal.
But then Ashley also got goddamn.
I thought it said like tuna and something on toast, and I thought, that sounds good.
Ashley got a tuna melt.
It was a tuna melt with the edges cut off.
She got the fanciest fakey orange juice and tuna melt you've ever had in all of Italy.
It was like the children's menu version of everything. It was like Jason ordered excellent. He ordered with polenta and bacala as some plate, and that was delicious. But
yeah, I'm better at ordering.
I did not order well at all. That was highly disappointing on my part.
You know, that must have really stuck with us because that was a solid 2 months ago, and you're still recalling it. Move on.
Oh my gosh. Other big news over the summer. Citizenship.
Oh yeah. Ashley is an Italian citizen. I am not. Congratulations to Ashley.
That didn't sound heartfelt.
No, I'm not really. Why are you special? We were together the whole time.
So our numbers were literally K blah 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 59
for the packet that you go through.
and then the other person K blah 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 60. Our numbers were next to each other. Every appointment we've had for the past 4 years is together. Our time slots are 2 minutes apart or whatever. If not, they're together. So finally, we get the go-ahead that mine has possibly arrived in Sant'Angelo, and Jason's is nowhere to be found.
No one knows where it is. There's no more information. Our inside man has no idea.
No, everyone's hypothesis is, and this is from the office in the Comune in Sant'Angelo to other Italians and
No one seems to be
bureaucrats.
alarmed by this.
No, they're like, oh, I'm sure what happened was she finished Ashley's on Friday, came into work on Monday, flipped the stack over, and started from the other side.
Why would you do that?
Everyone has said that.
Why on earth would you? Who does that?
Everyone has said that.
I understand.
I know. It's
What sane person does that?
I have no idea. Why is that the common knowledge of how paperwork is shuffled?
So we have sent did we do this over the summer? The email every
Oh yeah, spring I was sending an email once a week until I was not so politely asked in a strongly worded email to stop emailing them.
harassing them. I think they use the word harassment.
And then it will not help get his information anytime sooner.
That might be one reason why I haven't seen it yet.
Correct. Of course, the saga of mine still continues because I changed my name when we got married, and we'll get into that in another podcast because that's a whole nother conversation of the citizenship continuation. But when I came in over the summer to pop in to check to see if there was any new info, she pulled out a letter and started reading it to me. And as she was reading it to me, I just started the ugly cry. All of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, this is here. It's real. And so she read to me the verbal confirmation in early August, said, we'll do the ceremony with the sash and the mayor and all of that. And she goes, then you'll, and I said, I'm sorry for crying. She goes, no, it's a beautiful thing. No. And she, I was using my mask as like a freaking Kleenex. And she said, great, we'll talk to the mayor. We'll set it up. And within a month or so, we'll do your ceremony in person.
Haven't not heard a word.
Haven't heard back from them at all. So maybe they're just waiting for Jason's to show up too. Maybe the stack got shuffled once again, and now I'm on the bottom. I don't know. So technically, I have the verbal confirmation and that letter. Jason's is out there somewhere. The last we had heard was the office that I had contacted and harassed sufficiently said it had left their office.
We don't know where that was.
Correct. It was from a general email. So we do not know what office that was and where it went. And that was in summer.
Was it over the summer?
I think so.
Okay.
So
we'll see.
It will continue. Oh my God. What else?
You're the one holding the thing.
We got kittens.
Oh yeah,
that was in the spring,
that was June. So Gaji's adopted a mama cat up by his place. He doesn't let her in, but he feeds her every day and he talks to her. And he wants a cat, but won't fully admit it or accept it. Anyway, this stray. It's kind of just around.
Gaji lives at the top of like a little mini Italian version of not a cul-de-sac, but 3 or 4 little old houses clustered together. He lives up a little tiny bit of a hill driveway. And so these cats kind of roam in between these little houses.
So this mama cat had a litter of kittens, and Rosanna's like, oh, you should see the kittens. You should see the kittens. And our cats are now getting older, and it would be fun to have kittens. I don't know.
They were born around Easter.
Yeah. So in early June,
kidnapped them.
Basically kidnapped them. Late. I mean, we really sat there and just ripped them out of their mom's hands and brought them over here. And they have taken to Cacamone like a fish to water. They are all about it. They have tripled.
Totally bonkers.
They are huge. They're loving life.
It's fun. So much fun. I've started. This is hilarious. I'm turning 41 and have just started a cat TikTok page.
So you can see where our lives are headed. You can see the direction. Some people are shooting stars. Others are going in other directions. We're starting TikTok talk cat
Listen,
videos.
this could be
the road to riches.
Road to riches. I don't know. At one point I thought it
screwed.
was onions, but now it could be the cats.
Oh, you know what?
I'm late to the party.
You think big. Onions and cats.
Merch.
So their names are Thelma. So Thelma's the girl, and we have Lewis Winthorpe III. And for any of you who get that reference, good on you. Louie. We'll send you a windbreaker.
Thelma and Louie, they're hilarious. So it's been fun. Gaji loves he would always come over, especially right when they first got here, and just barge into our place like he used to, no knocking or anything, but just swing open the doors to try to find the kittens. Where are the kittens? But it's sweet. So they've been fun,
and it shows me how old and boring our cats are. They kind of just sleep and walk around and do their thing, and Thelma and Louie have brought a little spice to life out here.
Yes. Jason wants dogs again, too. Well, we've always wanted dogs, but...
Yeah, that's to go with the cow talk.
I know. Oh, God. So something else that happened. I don't even know when this happened. I end up with the mystery illnesses. I have... 2 hernias, flat back. I've got like this horrific
herniated discs.
Because
you can have a hernia of your your gut.
And I am a mess. I had sciatica at the beginning of when I looked it up and said age and obesity, and Jason was like, "Well, what are you gonna do?" So I had to, thankfully we have our physiotherapist in Piobico, who we've talked about before, who is the national fencing team's physical therapist. And so when I was having my acute back pain and not knowing what the hell is going on, because I don't know, we do a bunch of stuff. You're moving crates of tomatoes, chicken food, 25 kilo sacks of chicken food. Like, you're doing a bunch of stuff. So sometimes your back's a little sore, but you just kind of stretch it out or keep going. And when I had sent him the message, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm in Tokyo right now." I was like, "Oh yeah, you're at the Olympics. That's so cool." Anyway, had to do the resonanza. What's that called? An MRI. And I'm a mess. So had to go to a specialist, and Italians are hilarious because they will do even the doctor, he's looking at my chart and the MRI results and everything and the photos. And he's looking on the left side and is like, "Okay, that's a herniated disc. That's not so bad." And then he looks on the right, which is worse. And he's like, "Oh, your back is not beautiful." And for some reason, and then he's like, "Get up on the table." But for some reason, the way that they say things are not, "Oh, that is not beautiful." It just always makes me smile. That, and at first they kept saying, "You need to keep your body warm. Keep heating pad, sweaters and sweats. You need to keep your back very warm."
This was still in August.
Yeah, August or beginning of September. Yeah. But so I'm working through it, doing a hell of a lot better. For some reason, a horrific prescription of cortisone shots in the buns every other cheek each day. And Jason's not a big needles guy, so Gaji's been administering my shots, which is sweet, and he's good. But if he does it first thing in the morning, great. If he does it after he goes hunting, he's like exhausted.
A little shaky.
A little heavy-handed, a little hard push. And it's like, oh my God, I am sick of this. But
well, that stopped anyway.
Yeah, thankfully, as of yesterday.
So rest, and I will do all the physical work, which is not a problem. I need to, otherwise I will get fatter than I currently am.
Well, it's funny. One of the prescriptions is to go walk outside and use walking sticks, which make me feel like I look like I'm training to be German out on our streets or on our road. But there's so much activity with the hunters and the wood being moved around that a lot of the guys will stop or say hi and what's going on. And Pierangelo,
all of them have this problem.
I am like one with the old guys. So Pierangelo, he's one of the neighbors and wood guys who passes along our road 100 times a day. He was like, "Oh," and he's this big guy with white head and hair and has a funny dialect and accent. But he was like, "What are you doing with the sticks out here?" And I said, "Oh, I have 2 herniated discs." And he goes, "Only 2?" I'm yeah, 6 or 7. And then everyone talking about which is the good doctor to go see. They sound like old Jewish grandmothers. Oh, you've got to go see so-and-so. He's the best. And it's just hilarious. And and make sure to do this therapy. And he kept saying, I thought he said zone therapy because his accent is so difficult to understand sometimes. And I thought, okay, zone therapy, that kind of makes sense in Italian. Like in this one area, this one zone is where you're getting therapy. No, it's ozone therapy.
Like the gas.
Mm-hmm. So then that was the whole talk of a bunch of people. The forestale just like to stop and chat, and they got nothing else to do, so they're listening to back problems.
Forestale is like the park.
The rangers.
Yeah, but they control
the woods and the hunting.
Yeah, they control the hunting in the woods. Yeah.
But so it's kind of fun, not really being like one with the old guys. I'm like, great, this is now a thing.
Ashley is now a good customer of the geriatric store in Urbana that sells the exercise balls and the walkers and the back braces, the thermopacks. Like, oh, Ashley, did you want our club card? If you spend €100.
Next time I get a hearing aid. So that's kind of been the summer.
We laugh, but this is not good because last year my shoulder, this year her back. Ashley took a face full of bees. It's just getting to be. We either need to switch it up or we need more mechanization. Like we need help in some way. We got to watch it or get.
We're getting older.
I know.
It's crazy.
It is.
I don't like it.
No, you're too young to have these horrible back things. It's not good when you and all the 68-year-olds have the same, oh, I got one of those too.
And we're all going to the same doctor? No, not great. Not great. So,
well, moving into autumn, we haven't flipped the switch yet into autumn. It's still been kind of warm. We had a little bit of cool weather in the beginning of September, but in the last two and a half weeks, easily, it's been like beautiful conditions. 28 yesterday. Some mornings are cool and wet like today, and other mornings are dry and warm. It's been all over the place. So
we had an earthquake?
We did have a little earthquake right before the big volcano eruption at La Palma. We had not a big earthquake, but it was...
No, it was like 2.9, but it was right near us.
Right here. It was a kilometer or two away, right up where, at the end of the valley where the windmills are. So we felt it and heard it, and made me feel like living old times growing up.
I basically slept through it. Jason had a little more energy toward... He was like, whoa, that was a little earthquake. And I was like,
well, I was just aware that usually... I grew up in San Francisco, so when or the East Bay, so there would be a lot of earthquakes, not just the one that was famous that knocked down the Bay Bridge, but they're usually they're not just single; they always come around.
I thought it was just funny because normally I'm the one who's like, "Oh my God, was that an earthquake?" And you're like, "Oh, just relax, it's fine." And this time, I've basically slept through it and.
Well, because I knew that it was it felt right here. It just felt like really close. Yeah, it was close, and it was.
And then at breakfast, each guest who would come down to breakfast would come in the door and say 11:25, and they would say that was like the first thing or whatever the time it was that it happened. But everyone was like on it, and it was the first words out of their mouth, which was just kind of funny.
Well, it is concerning because masonry structures, and this is brick, stone, and concrete, mortar, and beams.
Huge wood beams you look up at.
That are right above you as you sleep. Those don't do well in earthquakes.
Shh, this old house has been pretty good to us.
I know. She's been here forever, so...
So what else going into the fall? Since it's been so dry, the mushroom and truffle talk is not great.
Which is hysterical because we have a sold out truffle package at the end of October, beginning of November.
Now, there's still some time for mushrooms. It's not going to look great for the truffles, that's for sure.
No, and they're going to be real expensive because there's not any. We saw our favorite guy who comes with the 2 dogs. He has 1 lab mix and 1 older dog. The older dog wasn't with him anymore. And he showed us what he found yesterday, and it was what looked like a little piece of rolled up mud. It was nothing. He's like, there's nothing out here.
So it's slow with that. The hunters are out. The traffic is back. We've got thankfully it is just a, we'll call it an alarm, a sound alarm of a gunshot that goes off.
Oh my God. So they're trying to protect their sorghum fields at the end of the valley. We have some right around here too. But I guess the pigs, the wild boar, are starting to get into the ripening sorghum and eating it and destroying it. So they have set up one of those little boxes that make sounds. Thank God it's a gunshot and not like a beep or something like that.
Because other neighbors have had the beep.
We've had neighbors who have the beep, and it is annoying. Whereas the gunshot, sounds more.
It's just kind of muffled. You get used to it. It's not jarring.
No, but it goes off all the time.
All the time. The first night we had no idea what was going on, and Jason got up in the middle of the night and was like, "Someone's out there poaching." Someone's out there. And it was because you kept hearing it go off, and especially because it was a new battery and new sound. It was a lot
just going
sharper.
off all the time. It's like 3:30 in the morning,
and they're hunting all night.
And then the next morning again, and then so I asked, there's
Gaji came by for coffee, and you're like, we were like, Gaji, someone's out there. Someone's been poaching. He's like, what fields?
I'm like, just that way, like 2 fields over, you can just hear the gunshots all morning, all evening long. Comes to find out, it's the alarm system, the little boxes that they use. They ran out of batteries over the weekend, which was nice. And here we are, beginning of the week, and they have fresh batteries.
Yeah, it's back. It's back. We can time it.
But it'll be gone. They're going to harvest the sorghum here pretty soon, and then they'll get rid of those. So it's all part of the ambiance of the countryside. But we have to warn
the authentic rustica.
Yes, but you do have to tell your guests when you're doing the walk around of the house that you will hear gunshots
every hour on the hour.
Yeah, I don't know if it's set up by timer or by motion, but you're going to hear them, and it's not guns.
And feel free to go for a walk in that direction. Oh my gosh. Speaking of the guests, I have to give a shout out to the guests who showed up this year. Between the return guests and people who have been here making this their third or fourth trip down, to the podcast listeners who came out and made this as a trek to help support us after last year and this year still being crazy. It is incredibly a heartfelt thank you that you guys made it all the way out here and made it part of your trip. And a special shout out to Mindy and James, Lillian, Noah, and Victoria for the podcast listeners who loved it so much. And even without us podcasting since, like we said, beginning of March, came out to make sure we were still okay. So it's really sweet. We don't really say it much, but it does mean a lot in a silly way. Thank you.
Very good. Anything else? Or are we going to end on that, or what's going on?
What is going on? We've got a bunch of the fall projects still. The pool's closed, but like you said, the wood and all of that.
Oh, I got a ton of wood. They've been harvesting wood from the field right next to us all summer long. There was how much, a whole field full of stacked wood.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
It was actually really cool because as you drove up, it was just rows of wood.
Perfectly stacked, and I'm a sucker for good looking stacks of wood. So it's been there, but you've had to listen to the trucks come and grab it, which isn't a big deal. But
or the chainsaws cutting it. But
the good part about it is they paid me off. I got a bunch of free wood. So,
exactly. We'll take it.
We'll take it. But it's long and big, and you have to chop it up and cut it up and chop it up and move it up. And that's my project for right now. So a little bit every day.
And what is still going strong in the garden?
Going strong in the garden is all the autumn things. So all the cabbages, the broccolis, fennel. We still have peppers. We still have string beans. We still have tons of tomatoes.
Let's really quick. Things that did really well this year.
Peppers. I finally got peppers to mature all the way through, so they did well. Tomatoes did okay. I had problems with insects this year that I didn't have in other years, and I think it's because I put the manure on too late, and it didn't have I have to put it on in the autumn and let it sit over the winter, where I put it on in the late winter, and I just think there was larvae in there. Or there was something going on. I battled horrible insects and the heat. The heat got most things this year. At a certain point, the plants just got too hot and just started dropping.
But the tomatoes got a second wind.
Tomatoes got a second wind. The peppers got it. Once we got through that last bit of July and August, and it just kind of they just can't have 37 every day. They just freak out.
No, but the beans and
beans did great.
Beans did
Corn
well.
did well. Pumpkins did all right. They were small.
Pumpkins were small, but huge bonus, not a bite was taken.
No, I got the pumpkins before the porcupines, and
there's normally some sort of autumn porcupine parade where they just come in and take a smorgasbord, one bite out of each.
Of course, I have a fence, but they constantly test the fence, and they'll get underneath, and they'll just come by and take a bite out of every pumpkin, looking for. I don't know what they're looking for. They're looking to ruin all the pumpkins, and they've done it 2 years in a row, and this year, no porks.
No porks.
Or maybe my fencing was better. I don't know.
Anything that didn't go well besides the tomatoes, or like learning.
They did not go well. It was an average.
What about we learned about having things with some shade helped. Like the cucumbers that got, or the melons that had a little more shade.
Yeah.
Some of that, a few of those lessons were learned this year. Because you could spend some more time fixing stuff.
I have to give shade to the tomatoes, the peppers, the pumpkins in the afternoon, and I had a lot of it. So you can buy what's called telo umbragante, like you've seen it before. It's like this meshy fabric that lets some light through, but not all of it, and it just takes off the stress of the afternoons.
Now, you didn't use that, but you had we were lucky enough that you had planted the cucumbers all by the peppers, and that seemed to help.
So the cucumbers grew tall, which gave the peppers a little shade. I planted the pumpkins in the corn, which gave it a little shade. So I was trying things like that because to buy and set up this whole shade system is like a huge project.
Not for the glory, and it doesn't work with the glory garden.
No, not really. Next year, maybe I'm going to keep that in mind, because next year, instead of 14 rows of tomatoes, I will have 6. So.
Oh, and one other garden follow-up that one of the last podcasts you did, you were asking for shout-outs for some help with the irrigation and whatnot, and you got it all figured out. Was there lessons you learned with the irrigating this year?
Yeah, I'm getting better flow. I'm getting less, interesting enough, at the top of the row, because everything goes downhill, is getting less. Everything's traveling downhill. So I didn't extend the rows at the end. The kind of where it's cultivated, the earth stops at the last plant.
It doesn't like overflow.
No,
overhang.
it doesn't have an overhang, like a drain, if you will. So what happened was, as the drip system watered and the water flows down the row, it stops at the last plant at the bottom and just kind of sits there. So I had some splitting of the tomatoes and that kind of thing. So next year, what I need to do is continue the cultivated part of the land, the row, another meter or two, to give the water a chance to kind of drain away, so it doesn't sit at that bottom part and mess up those plants.
We also learned that maybe we should be doing it on an angle.
Yeah, I should do it the other way too. So maybe like at a 45, maybe, to where the way the
rows.
No, where the way the land kind of flows. Because it just the water.
We're on a little bit of a not a hill, but there's a grade.
There's
a grade to it.
A good. It's not a hill, but it's definitely, you walk downhill as you go down in the garden. So the top parts of the rows don't get enough. The bottom parts of the rows get too much. So,
and that helps from like washout from a big summer rain or something like that too.
Yeah, the water will just take it just takes all the topsoil and washes it away. So, lesson learned. All in all, it was a good year. It was a good year for the garden. We got more than we could possibly consume.
Absolutely. Something we probably won't do again is chickpeas. They were beautiful.
Oh yeah,
plants.
we did chechi. Beautiful plants, but there is one chickpea, one garbanzo bean in each pod.
If you're lucky.
The birds love to eat them, and
so do the caterpillars.
And they take forever to harvest.
Forever. I told Jason the other day I would rather double shell fava than do chickpeas again. They were so pretty as a plant. The other thing that I grew that wasn't that great up in the boxes, well, I had a terrible year for the carrots. For some reason, they came out
too hot.
Yeah, it was just way too hot. But also leeks.
Pain in the butt.
We don't even use them, really.
I don't use them.
So it's like,
well,
and they're not that big. They're teeny tiny.
They're teeny tiny, and so the usable part, the white part of it, is maybe a finger long. Like it's really small, and it was such a pain in the butt. Every day I'd walk by and, Ashley, you got to pile up the dirt around the leak. She's like, I am, and we need a different system to get the white part bigger, and it was just too much work.
Yeah, something to try.
I mean, you just had a little bit of them, but all in all, a good Glory Garden year. I'm very happy. I'll never do it again.
I'm having him record a video to himself this winter.
A confessional?
Yes, to play when you start planting the garden, to tell it to yourself, because I try it each year. Pull it back. We don't need as much.
This year I went insane.
We've got to. Or what if everything dies? I've got to have backup.
No, that was not what I said. It had to be symmetrical. It all had to look.
That too.
It had to be even. It had to be looking good. Like it did look good. It was great. I had a great time doing it. It was a labor of love. It was a ton of work. Like I said, 6 or 8 hours a day. But thankfully, it's over. I've kind of not abandoned it, but there's not.
No, but you could do it. It was worth it.
And now comes the cleanup. There's so much to clean up down there. I got to pull up all the tubing for the from the drip system. I got to take down all the poles from the tomatoes, all the tank, the pressure tank and the regulators and all that stuff down there, because we switch the garden each year from one side to the other. So we rotate everything. And starting on, as soon as I get done with this blasted wood, I get to start planning where I'm going to put my animal pen stall
I know.
shed.
I can't wait. Moo honey.
Moo honey.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. I know we were a little bit all over the place, but we thought it is time to fire it back up. It's been long enough.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you in 6 months.
All right. Thanks for listening. Ciao, ciao.
Sentire Media.
Hey, podcast producers and show hosts. Do you want to join a podcast network that celebrates all things Italian? At Sentire Media, we understand the allure of Italy and its unique culture. Our devoted team of hosts and producers are all driven by their shared passion for Italy. And we work tirelessly to create the best lifestyle podcasts and content that will whisk you away to the very heart of Italy. With us, you can savor the mouth-watering flavors, get lost in the stories from the past, break down the cultural barriers, and truly immerse yourself in the vibrant traditions of this intoxicating country. If you have a great podcast idea or are already in production and would like to join Sentire Media, head over to sentiremedia.com, that's SENTIRE media.com, and find out how to submit your show.